Welcome back to the aquarium, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Devstream 134. It was definitely not the best Devstream out there, but here's the summary of it. They hit 1 million followers on Twitch, quite a big landmark, but they're gonna hold off the celebration on that until next year, 2020, and then the first Devstream of 2020 will be the celebration. December 12th, sorry about that. It was December 23rd. Rebecca's going to do a solo stream, and we all know how well the last one turned out. Oh gosh. Although Steve said he was not going to be there, so we can hopefully tone it down a little bit. As for where we are going, 2020 is just going to be the start of the new war. Just the start. They're gonna drop the patch sometime December or January is what they were kind of hinting at, but dancing around. They didn't really give us a hard date or confirm anything. And my guess is the next 2 or 3 years, maybe even longer, maybe the next 7 years are going to be the new war. I mean, I'm all right with that. It does represent a tonal change in Warframe and a change in the story, but they've done pretty good with the story so far. It's had its weird moments. Hopefully it gets better. Hopefully we get some answers, but we're not going to be spiking Mama Lotus in the next few months. Probably not in 2020 at all. They also demoed a ton of railjack stuff. Like, oh my gosh. They demoed a ton. It's really hard to explain just how much was demoed. They went into one exterminate and it took them like 30 minutes just because they wanted to go through everything. But before they went into that, they went into the railjack. The railjack essentially looks like a Warframe. You're going to be able to upgrade your mods, and you're also going to be able to get upgrades for what they were calling the grid. How I kind of view the grid is like, hey, you need to install an Oracle Catalyst to get the full drain. You need to apply Forma. It is going to take some other stuff. They said avionic endo, and I don't know what that is. I'm kind of concerned that we can't just use normal endo, but alright. All these unique things are starting to bug me. But I get where they're coming from. They're trying to slow it down for the veterans. Not a huge fan. But it does look like our railjacks will scale quite nicely for quite a long time. The railjack they demonstrated was using all unranked, pretty much unmodded stuff as far as they showed. They didn't show us any mod screen or any real upgrades. I suspect that screen's going to change a bit, since the railjack they showed us last year at TennoCon, it didn't look much the same at all. There's probably going to be some other changes before launch. Now, it will take the 4 new resources, and a ton of them, like thousands. But they picked up hundreds from their mission, so I don't think it'll be too hard to get those. And once you really play the game, and now that those new resources are involved in the game, the farm won't be so bad. Another thing they mentioned you would have are intrinsics. These are skills you will have from just leveling up. Essentially, you're going to level up, and you're going to get better at the game. It's pretty straightforward. They said there would be 4 at launch, and then another one coming later. 4 is going to be tactical. Tactical allows you to use certain abilities. On the dev stream, it came up that like launching yourself at another ship with an arc wing. There are some variations you could do with if you ranked up tactical. Piloting was your maneuvers and your evasion and collision reduction damage. That seemed to be pretty important. Engineering is how well you work on the ship, it seemed, and gunnery is your turret damage. Command is also going to be the one that will be added later. Command is how well you command your allies, and by that the NPCs is what it means. Gunnery, Rebecca had a really low gunnery, and they were really, really struggling against level 12 fighters. We don't know what these fighters are. When they boarded the other ships, they were level 40. So it's really up in the air. They also mentioned that everything in the mission was an unbalanced mess, a really unbalanced mess, and they were working on rebalancing all of it. Overall, it looked pretty good. We gotta mention this. The floaters in the dojo around the railjack, you can ride those. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know where I'll be AFK from now on. Forget doing that in mission. I've got floaters. Yeah, just a little bit ridiculous. Fun. Now, Rebecca mentioned these would all go to rank 9. But she mentioned they were also supposed to be a meaningful progression system that it'll take weeks, maybe even months for you to get to rank 9 in all of them. How her progression showed on screen, it was just upgraded with carbides. I suspect there's going to be something else. I believe they were using some intrinsic points that maybe weren't shown on screen, because they did demo that there wasn't something called intrinsics, like a resource that you would have to have. Although there wasn't a countdown on it. And wow, look at this beautiful spelling. Beautiful spelling. Oh man. Now, this is something I noticed while Rebecca was kind of flying around shooting at the other ships. I'm going to show this off, and this is Rebecca with a Phaedra shooting at a level 12. I know it's really crappy, but it's a level 12 fighter. She's only doing like 20 damage, and you can see a heat proc here. So heat proc halved its armor, and she went from 17 to 20 damage with a Phaedra. These are also yellow numbers. I know it's super washed out. I just grabbed it really quick, but that's really bad. That's like terrible. And it's critting, so it's clearly modded. Yeah, that was discouraging to see. Although I'm really hoping it is just a Phaedra. And then Reb probably didn't have quite all the mods on it. That's at least what I'm thinking. The railjack seems to have 1,000 health and at least the same amount of shields, maybe 1,500. Maybe there will be some variations there, and you can probably mod and upgrade that later. It was very easy to heal the railjack, though. Like, with the other 2 people in the squad, they were healing it for 200 or 150 every time. They were healing it solidly. The other guy, he also mentioned that you can stealth your railjack and then just fly around in Arcwing and do the mission. That's an interesting option, but definitely something that would work for solo play. They also mentioned if the railjack is lost, it's a party wipe. I'm kind of assuming that's also a mission failure and not just everyone's downed and you get to fly around in your Arcwing now. As for the enemies, there was quite a bit of diversity in the environment and the enemy weapons. For their Arcwing, or for their railjack, everything was shooting straight. Just straight, normal projectile weapons, nothing to get excited about. When Rebecca jacked one of the crewed ships, her weapon started seeking. Now, it wasn't perfect. It definitely wasn't the Carius level or the Cyanex, but if you got close, they would lock on and seek. She even managed to get a 90-degree turn on one of the rounds. Not exactly sure how that happened, especially since they only seem to have like a 5 or a 10-degree seeking ability. There was also mission or weapons you could purchase, weapons you could craft with resources that were single use and expended. One seemed to be an instant deployment, had to have a high enough tactical though, and again engineering plays into that since you also had to be at a high enough level to craft the items, and you had to be a high enough level to use the items. Definitely a little bit grindy, but I mean, welcome to the farm, boys and girls. The other thing that was shown off was a beautiful little something, the Baza Prime. Now, that's what we're going to be playing with right now. Baza Prime, when she first boarded it, it had 60 rounds. But then from then on, every time she reloaded, it was at 80. So it's probably going to have a mag size of 80 or a perk where on kill you go up to 80. But she was reloading in the middle of killing an enemy, so maybe it's just on damage or something like that. And we're going to take a look at those numbers one more time. So that's 136 against a 43. That is a new type of enemy, so we won't be able to replicate it perfectly. But 136 is the goal. Not going to throw on a build just yet. But get rid of these guys. Let's go with, it was a butcher. They all, right now, all of these guys have the same amount. And it was level 43. Definitely not the numbers she was getting. But everything was critting. So let's try a completely unmodded one. And that's kind of the thing that's throwing me off. Because going by what she showed on stream, if it was totally unmodded, she was getting orange crits. All yellow and some orange. So she clearly had some mods on there. Let's just slap the crit mods on there and see if it gets us there. We'll use Amalgam Serration, because why? And it's not enough crit? It genuinely is not enough crit. And it's too much base damage. So something funny is going on there. I find it incredibly hard to believe that D would drop. A weapon. Oh, that's getting closer. So this is about 20 meters away. Let's take a look at the Baza's fall off. Fall off 22. Doesn't 22 to 34. So from this, I don't know what Rebecca was running. This is really hard to say. She clearly wasn't not running a full build, or if she was, the enemies are having some serious damage reduction. But Baza Prime, bigger mag, more crit chance. And as far as like status, it's probably got a little bit more. Probably in the 15 to 20% range. And that's what you can get from this Devstream. Oh, one other thing I do want to show off. She also did a review on what we need for Empyrean. Oops. Oh, that's right. We didn't cover hosting and how that works. If you have a railjack, you can host for other players. If you do not have a railjack, you can beg and beg some more and have someone with some actual MR host for you. There's going to be a lot of stuff to grind. Yeah, but we've covered most of the important stuff. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this summary of Devstream 134.